2023, Google has been buying roughly about 15 billion worth of stocks every other quarters. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, take your mind back. It's roughly 15 billion per quarter or roughly 60 billion per year. And if we look just at the last set of results, Google CEO Sundar Pichai has guided that the share buyback is going to go even higher by another 10 billion to 70 billion for this current financial year. Now, what does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? So if I actually work back the numbers, look at the third line. Now, if Google do a 70 billion share buyback between now until 2029, I'm not even assuming that the buyback amount increases, which in this year they have from 60 billion to 70 billion. Roughly, Google should be able to buy back around 400 to 500 million shares based on the current price of 235 years at the highest. Now, just imagine if it goes even lower, you can actually buy back more shares, which means it's 2.2 billion thereabouts. So this means that come 2029, Google number of shares may decrease even further from 12.2 billion down to 10 billion. Now, if you ask me, Google share price at the beginning of this decade, in terms of number of shares, they were actually close to about 15 billion. So can you imagine that the power of a share buyback through buying and identifying companies where the free cash flow is much higher than net profit. Now, this is a key thing when it comes to investments in US stocks. And this is something that a lot of analysts miss. So because by then, for example, the EPS in 2029 numbers, assuming that Google achieved a net profit of 249 billion based again on very conservative 20% growth between now until 2029, it's going to be 25 cents. Now, 25 cents based on the average of the Magnificent Six. This ladies and gentlemen, we cover the Magnificent Six stocks, and it's in our core portfolio. So if you take the average P of the Magnificent Six, currently priced at about 26. I'm only using a discount. At 25, I get a share price of 625. So if I use 625, ladies and gentlemen, multiply by the number of shares that I currently hold at 12,400, I get close to 10 million. That's how I'm going to achieve and get to Google at $10 million. Now, my purpose of doing this video, ladies and gentlemen, is to showcase essentially that you can actually make millions in equities and in your investments, even if you only know how. Now, in this age of excessive social media, where you do not know who to listen to, I just want to showcase you that essentially you can make $1 million, let alone $10 million from someone that you can listen to and know and learn reliably. And this is actually us.